Thank you. So we are now back in open session. If I could have Councilors Hoyle and Danch move that council rise with report at 6:30 p.m. Item 4.1 staff reports that confidential legislative services department report 2025-129 be received for information. Questions? All in favor? That's carried. Item 6 is consideration of applications for regional council vacancy. So I'm going to pass the floor to the clerk, and then she'll go through the procedure based on our bylaw.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So council has considered all submissions of the candidates and will now proceed to vote by ballot as follows. Candidate names will be read aloud by myself in alphabetical order. Members of council will vote for one candidate only by raising their hand. A candidate must receive greater than 50% of the votes from the members of council present. If on the first ballot, no candidate receives greater than 50% of the votes from the members of council present, then the candidate who received the fewest number of votes, in addition to any candidates who received 0 votes, will be excluded from further consideration and will be removed from the next ballot. Another vote will be taken with the updated list of candidates. The process as outlined will continue until a single candidate receives greater than 50% of the votes from the members of council present. Where the votes cast are equal for all candidates, if there are 3 or more candidates remaining, I will by lot select one such candidate to be excluded from the subsequent voting. If 2 candidates remain, the tie will be broken by selecting a candidate by lot to fill the vacancy as conducted by myself. Upon conclusion of the voting, I will declare the candidate receiving greater than 50% of the votes of the members of council present to be the candidate selected, and council shall consider the motion to recommend the appointment of that candidate to Niagara Region's council. So, proceeding with the vote, I will now list the candidates in alphabetical order by their last name and ask that council each raise their hand for their preferred candidate, only once. Vance Badaway. Jason Benoit. Emily Brandes. Norbert Gager. Betty Conk. Norman Leon. Ashley Miatello. Robert Salowich and Monica Ann Zavo. All right. Vance Badaway has received greater than 50% of the votes of council and has been determined to be the successful candidate. With that in mind, we will now proceed to the motion to recommend for appointment Vance Badaway to the position of Niagara Regional Councillor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And on behalf of council, we thank everybody that put their name in. These things aren't always easy in a midterm like this, but we went through it and a decision has been made. So at this time, if I could have Councillors Bruno and Bodner move that council of the City of Port Colborne recommend that Vance Badaway be appointed to fill the vacant seat of Councillor, Regional Municipality of Niagara, as the City of Port Colborne's representative for the remainder of the 2022 to 2026 term, with a start date to be determined in consultation with the clerk for the Niagara Region, and that the city clerk be directed to advise the clerk of the Niagara Region of this recommendation. Questions? All in favor? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. We have one staff report this evening, council, with regards to the community engagement on backyard chickens in the urban boundary 2025-110. Before I proceed putting the motion on the floor, we do have the young lady that was here earlier, Julie Kuhl is here. Julie didn't get her name in time for the delegation list, so council can move to temporarily suspend the rules of procedure to allow her to speak. I would just need a mover and a seconder for that. I've got Aquilina and Bagu. So moved by councillors Aquilina and Bagu, the council temporarily suspend the rules of procedure in accordance with provision 2.3 of the procedural bylaw to permit delegations on report 2025-110. Questions? All in favor? That's carried. So I'm going to put the motion on the floor, and then we'll ask Julie to come up. So moved by councillors Bodner and Aquilina, that is the Chief Administrative Officer report 2025-110 be received. The council directs staff to take no further action on permitting backyard chickens within the urban boundary. Julie, if you want to come up to the podium, just like the last time you were here, you get 10 minutes. I'll give you kind of a shout out at the 1 minute mark, so you know. So just press the red button and away you go.
So excuse me for having my phone, but my notes are on
Nope,
here.
no problem.
Okay. So good evening. First off, I want to thank you again for the opportunity to speak about the proposal before council to allow backyard chickens in our community. I appreciate and value the time spent in consideration of the proposal, and I have read through the report. Tonight, I did want to just take some time to address several of the concerns that have been raised. I'll be using evidence-based information in my responses, drawn mostly from Canadian experience and research. First concerns have been raised about potential odors. It's important to note odor issues are primarily a result of poor management. The Canadian Poultry Handbook states that with proper care, routine removal of manure, using absorbent bedding, and good ventilation, odors can be effectively controlled. Cities such as Guelph, Kingston, and Vancouver, where backyard chickens are permitted, to my knowledge, have no widespread issues with odor complaints. For sanitation, health risks like salmonella or avian influenza are legitimate concerns. Health Canada outlines simple biosecurity measures that greatly minimize these risks. Regular hand washing, clean coop conditions, limiting contact with wild birds. Research from the University of British Columbia in 2015 found no significant public health risks associated with properly managed backyard flocks. A 2017 study from Canadian Journal of Public Health reports that small flocks can carry much fewer risks than large industrial poultry operations. There's an increasing public health issue growing today is the threat of Lyme disease. Ontario has seen a significant increase in Lyme disease cases driven by the tick population. In this context, backyard chickens may serve as natural chick predators. Studies from the U.S. demonstrate that chickens consume ticks as part of their natural foraging. While Canadian research is still emerging, many small flock owners in Ontario have reported fewer ticks where chickens forage, and that's from the Ontario Small Flock Poultry Association. While this might not be a standalone solution, backyard chickens may contribute to a broader integrated tick management strategy. Concerns about attracting predators like raccoons, foxes are valid. There are secure coop designs that can dramatically reduce these risks. The Ontario Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs offers clear guidelines for predator proofing, including solid enclosures, secure fencing, and proper storage of feed. As for the noise concerns, it's often focused on roosters. Most municipal bylaws in Canada prohibit backyard roosters. I have no experience to draw from. Hens, on the other hand, are relatively quiet. Their occasional clucking is no louder than common neighborhood sounds like dog barking or lawnmowers. Roaming, a nuisance, proper fencing and supervision, again, would take care of that. Coop maintenance is manageable and comparable to an average household pet. The Canadian Small Flock Poultry Health Manual provides accessible guidelines, and several municipalities, such as Niagara Falls, have implemented licensing programs to ensure responsible care. Property values was another concern. There's no current research that supports this. A 2014 University of New Mexico study found no evidence that backyard chickens negatively affect property values. Canadian municipalities like Guelph and Victoria have observed no measurable impact on real estate values. since adopting backyard chicken programs. In some cases, the ability to keep chickens is even viewed as an attractive amenity by prospective buyers. We're not alone in considering this proposal. Many Ontario municipalities have already embraced backyard chickens. Toronto has had a permanent program since 2022. Guelph allows 10 hens as of 2021. Ottawa launched a pilot project in 2021. Niagara Falls permits up to 10 hens as of 2022. Kingston, Thunder Bay, and Brampton each have also adopted supportive policies towards backyard chickens. Yeah, so I guess I'll leave it there and say thank you for your time.
Great, thanks, Julie. And just before you leave, questions from councilors? Okay, great, thanks, Julie. Appreciate it. So there is a motion on the floor. Are there any questions to staff? Councillor Baggio.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to, I guess, staff. In the report you have, there's neighborhood impacts. What have you just explained to me what neighborhood impacts are with having chickens in your backyard?
Jasmine?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Bagu. Neighborhood impacts are things that we were talking about, such as noise or odor, or potentially attracting predatory animals, concerns such as that.
Councillor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One more question, Mr. Mayor. I just wonder if this does pass and people are allowed to have chickens, and we have 2 chickens strutting downfield an avenue in the middle of the road, who do we call? Is there something?
CAO?
Yeah, through the mayor to the councillor, one, I apologize for my voice tonight, kind of lost it on that perspective. But one, you can call our hotline, our overnight hotline, and Public Works can take a look. But generally, we tried to use our relationship with Welland Animal Services, so they would come out and help. We would have to look at the agreement and make sure that we can expand the agreement to do that, so there would be some work. So if we did move forward with backyard chickens and permit them, we'd have to do some additional work with respect to the services that we already have.
Councillor?
You, Mr. Mayor, I feel sorry for CAO answering my question since he's vocally challenged tonight, so thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Further questions? Seeing none. Oh, sorry, Councillor Bonner.
So just looking at the recommendation here, so we're saying take no further action on permitting backyard chickens. So to be clear, that means they'll still be not permitted.
Correct.
And,
the current bylaw would stand.
Right. But did I not read someplace in there that people that have them now will be able to keep them? Can I get a clarification on that?
CAO.
Through the mayor to the councillor, it's not that if you have them now, you'd be able to keep them, but there is a process, and I think it was talked about the last time the individual presented, that there is a process that you can go through a variance model. It does cost, there is a fee, and it can be considered through that model. Ultimately, if council was to move forward with this recommendation, a bylaw would work with the individual or any individuals that had the chickens with respect to a time frame, because I don't think it would be reasonable to put to council that we would say that you would have to move it instantaneously. We'd have to have a process for that.
Okay. Further questions? Councillor.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say I appreciate the passion that the delegation had coming forward, and if I could contain everything in what you're advising on, like I would approve this, but we don't know that every person that would get chickens would go to the lengths that are the delegate would. And so I would have a lot of concerns. I think there'd be a huge impact on our bylaw enforcement with complaints. I think, there's a lot of moving parts to approving it in the urban area, and just because of the complaints that we receive in the rural area, Councillor Bodnar and I, and their chickens get taken away, and they have people in their backyards that have chickens, and 2 doors down have chickens. Like, I just think it would be a lot for bylaw to impose this on them, so I don't think that I could support this moving forward.
Thank you, Councillor. Further questions? Councillor Elliott?
Sorry, Mayor. Thank you. Through you to the CAO, with regard to the comment about those that have them, keeping them, did you say that there was a cost?
CAO?
Yeah, through the mayor.
Bylaw amendment?
Through the counselor, through the mayor to the counselor. It's not a bylaw amendment, but there is a process that you can go through planning and look at how your property is registered with respect to this. So there was, that was put forward and discussed originally. But I think the cost was, and I apologize, I don't have the cost right now. I think the individual noted the cost was quite prohibitive. It wasn't something that the individual was willing to pursue.
So I guess that being said, is there anything that we can do that will change the bylaw to allow the people that have chickens now, keep them until the date is 2027, the official plan comes back out. So can we change it so that the people that have them now can keep their chickens without cost?
CAO?
Through the mayor to the counselor, just for clarity on the report. So the report is recommending to do no further work, in which case we would move forward with any individual that had backyard chickens and work through a process to reduce or remove them from the property. But the report also does mention an alternative option. And just to be clear, so the alternative option, which is not in the recommendation, is that council could direct staff to look at, as it does the update to the official plan, consider backyard chickens through that. And then after that, we would look at our related zoning bylaws and permanently amend them there. So the problem is an OP with all the public consultation will take 1.5 years plus, and then the bylaw zoning will take another year on top of that. So that's where that, when you bring up the 2027, you're correct, that's what's in the report, but that's an alternative option that's not recommended in the report.
Councillor?
Then I'll turn and ask through your Councillor Bodnar, is that, will we look for microphone with that?
Microphone, Councillor.
Sorry.
Oh, that's, sorry, Mayor. Through to Councillor Bodnar. Are you looking for something like that to allow the people that have them?
I'd be looking at.
Microphone. Councillor?
Thank you. So I was putting it out there to see if there's any appetite for, like, people that have backyard chickens. Is there a grace period to get rid of them? You know, like, we're not going in there tomorrow and round up all the chickens. I would assume, and I know that's not the case, but what's the comfort level? Councillors, how long, how long if you want it? Is it 6 months or a year to phase it out? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that, but I think it would be reasonable to at least give people that have the chickens a certain amount of time to get rid of them, whatever that time is, right? So
And I think the answer from the CIO was with staff working with them, I mean, they're not gonna be, as you
I-
state, going in tomorrow, that they will,
I know staff would be reasonable,
Yeah.
and if council's fine with that, I'm fine with that. I just wanted it stated publicly that there'd be a process
correct,
to do it. So,
thank you. Counselor Elliott?
Okay, yep, I don't, if anybody else on council has an opinion on that, to let them stay for a grace period, I don't know how you can identify what that period would be, unless it's 6 months or 8 months or 9 months or whatever. I'd be interested to hear that, if there's any comments to that point.
Okay. Further comments or questions, council? Okay, all in favor of the motion? Opposed? It's carried. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so bylaws, if I could have councilors, Hoyle, spelling here, Mr. Hoyle, and Danch. Councilors Hoyle and Danch move the bylaw to adopt, ratify, and confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of the City of Port Colborne dated June 17th, 2025, be enacted and passed as presented. Questions? All in favor? That's carried. We are now adjourned. Thank you, council.